Welcome to Mishna study Masechet Shabbat Perek Tetvav Mishnah Bet. Over here in this Mishnah, we're going to continue with tying it on Shabbat. Over here, we're going to speak about knots that are allowed. So before we do so, Hanambam sort of fixes this Mishnah. The way he reads this is okay. Yesh techa kesharim she'en hayavim adehim. Right, there are certain knots that you're not going to be hayav for, like the camel riders' knots and the sailors' knots, and those are not mentioned in the Mishnah. Right? What are those that you're not going to be hayav for, but they're still asur, they're still patur of asur? So if a person goes ahead and he ties a muzzle, right, to an animal in order to lead his horse or something, and he undoes it afterwards, right? It's not something that's permanent, right? But it's still it's still something that you're going to be, it's still asur, right? It's still a craftsman's knot, right? So over there, it's something that's patur of asur, period. Now the Mishnah continues with knots that are totally allowed, right? So the first part is the ones that you're not hayav for, but it's still asur, right? Patur of asur. Now we're going to talk about what you're allowed to do. Kosheret isha miftechei haluk. A woman is allowed to tie the opening of a robe. Right? Also the her hairnet. She's allowed to tie those as well. Or laces, right? Shoelaces, laces on a sandal. Vinodot yayin v'shemen. Tying jugs of oil and wine. Clothes. Uktirashil basar. A pot of meat. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. You let her tie in front of the animal so the animal doesn't leave. Right, now the Mishnah continues. Koshrim deli bepisikia avalo b'chevel. You're allowed to tie a bucket, right? Imagine you're going to a well and you want to draw some water, so you're allowed to go ahead and tie, right? Tie the bucket to a people are most Laman Fashim explains this to be a belt, and Rambam says though it's a piece of woven clothing, like an old piece of woven clothing, and you're allowed to go ahead and do so, but not with a rope. You can't go ahead and do so with a rope. When it comes to the woven piece of clothing, right, and these items, it's allowed because you're allowed to. It's something that's not considered muktzeh on Shabbat. Now, just to point out, halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer, that we mentioned up above, right? You're allowed to tie in front of the animal so it doesn't leave, and you're allowed to go ahead and tie the bucket with this piece of clothing. Klal amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda matir. Rabbi Yehuda allows, right? So the chazal like Rabbi Yehuda, rather like Rabbi Eliezer. Klal amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda has a rule called kesher she'eno shel kayama en hayavim alav. Any kesher that is not shel kayama, right? That is not permanent. You're not going to be hayav for, right? Everyone, as we mentioned before, agrees to this rule of Rabbi Yehuda. So this part of what Rabbi Yehuda is saying would be la halacha.